she came home.
Carlisle's lost an empire. You fall hard enough, you tend to be reminded of what truly matters. So, the end of the line. You ready for this?
Are you? Who will you be without a score to settle?
I guess the world's most wanted fugitive will have to do.
Alexa Carlisle is dead. According to the funeral invitation, that is. So naturally, it caused quite a stir when the late matriarch turned up at the breakfast table, alive and kicking. Carlisle, wisely sensing that her number is up, has emerged from exile to tie up loose ends and secure the Carlisle legacy. She may be a monster, but you have to admire her due diligence. Carlisle descends from an ancient line of warrior aristocrats. Her great-grandfather made a killing in the Second Opium War and established an empire in shipping, railroads, and newspaper publishing. While largely unknown to the public, the family still asserts its quiet dominance over global transport and logistics, media, and technology. Most senior of the partners, Alexa Carlisle, is cold as ice, tough as nails, and sharp as a razor. Incidentally, it was her late father who first brought the three families together after the end of World War II at this very house, meaning that this gentleman is the birthplace of Providence.
It began here, and it ends here. Talk about poetic.
One more thing. According to our intel, Carlisle keeps a case file on the Constant, information that may be helpful in his recapture, so don't leave the estate without it.
Right. Happy hunting, 47. See you on the other side.
Thornbridge Manor. The Carlisle...
This is a private area, sir. Phineas Whitmer, private investigator. I have an appointment with Madame Carlisle. Please wait.
I heard Mary fainted when she heard Madame Carlisle was alive.
Huh? What a waste.
And I dare say I don't like it at all. This is what I mean. You have to be patted down before you see Madame Carlisle inside. I could cry.
Sir, I just need to check. That's a bit excessive, I think, considering the fact that I spotted no less than 2 routes to get inside the house unseen.
We know what we're doing, sir. Don't worry about that.
That is Phineas Whitmer, the famous private investigator, hired by Madame Carlisle this morning. I'm curious why he's here. Maybe you should do some detecting yourself, 47.
Mr. Whitmer, thank you for coming on such short notice. A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlisle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
Hi there.
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlisle are of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You will probably learn that a staged funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madame's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them if they seem affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlisle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlisle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madame Carlisle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room, to my right.
A locked room murder mystery, 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this. Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47. Zachary was shopping for new Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal. Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity.
A hidden door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside. A photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. I believe you've done a thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
How's everything coming along, Elaine?
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
That means the staff were off duty. And Madame Carlisle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madame's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you've solved the case, and I will take you to Madame Carlisle.
Very well.
That is the door to Mr. Fernsby's office. So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive, means, and opportunity, I believe. May I suggest you ask the suspects for alibis? Or perhaps do you prefer searching the manor for clues first?
Painkillers. Lethal if you use enough of them.
But not the poison used to kill Zachary. Of course, Madame Carlisle doesn't know that. Are you considering to frame the butler, 47? Zachary's diary. This is big. He was about to confess to the world that he and Alexa murdered their older brother Montgomery 46 years ago. And apparently, Mr. Fernsby helped make the murder look like an accident. And 47, the handwriting doesn't match the suicide letter in his room, proving he didn't write it himself. Mr. Fernsby clearly didn't commit the murder, but I think you have enough evidence to convince Madame Carlisle he did. Maybe you should tell him you are ready to present your findings.
Rosie, tell me what you did last night.
I'm in trouble, aren't I? I spent the evening with Patrick. We met after dinner and I went home at 1 in the morning. He said he needed someone real to talk to. When he looks at you, it makes you feel like the center of the universe, like a real princess.
But now he just ignores her.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary? Any strangers outside the house?
No, we saw no one outside, except Patrick's mother, Emma. We were sitting on the bench behind the greenhouse talking when she came out, and we had to hide. You won't tell her about me and Patrick, will you? She'd insist Madame Carlisle fire me. I'm sure of it.
Too right she will. She's always going on about how things will change once she's in charge of Thornbridge Manor.
How are things coming along in
Greetings, sir.
That is the door to Rebecca's room.
Exactly. He holds the other one. I just heard him.
I can see from the log that Rebecca was in a conference call from 9 p.m. to midnight last night.
You faced great obstacles too, I know.
Stop.
That door leads to Emma and Gregory's room. keychain pendant for the greenhouse. What's that doing in Emma and Gregory's room, I wonder? And why is the key missing? Now this is interesting, 47. A letter from Emma's mother stating that Emma is the illegitimate child of Alexa's late older brother, Montgomery. And listen to this. She claims to have witnessed Alexa and Zachary murder him. The plot thickens.
Face like that, I bet you've worked with a lot of high-profile...
No, you
Mr.
should probably...
Fernsby might. All right,
yeah.
later.
An old letter, 47. Never opened. Must have slid under the secret door nearly 46 years ago. It states that Alexa Carlisle's older brother, Montgomery, wanted Alexa to become the heir to the Carlisle Empire instead of himself. Interesting. You're an excellent detective, 47. Uncovering truths half a century old. If you frame it correctly, I believe you could use the information to convince Madame Carlisle that Zachary committed suicide. Maybe you should ask Mr. Fernsby to see her. Or perhaps you feel like digging a bit more.
Ethel looked everywhere.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. No power.
Broken lab equipment. It looks like it was recently used, though.
I'll finish setting up. Rapidly, just before you call down the phone.
This is a table showing lethal dosages for the poison used to kill Zachary.
Something is circled, 47. Female, age 65 to 79, 60 to 64 kilograms.
Big guy.
I'd say Madame Carlisle is next in line for a poisoning.
Kids anymore? How old is this shit?
Patrick Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Shit, it's that sneaky butler, isn't it? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow...
What did you think of Zachary?
Oh, creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexa used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him. Then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. So,
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would have. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
Professor Edward Carlisle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'd never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. If that's all?
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff, all the company he had. Anything else I could...
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary?
You mean apart from the fact that we came here to bury our mother and she shows up alive and kicking? Zachary found dead in his bed this morning? Or perhaps that the planned funeral is still taking place and I have to do the eulogy? And Mother will surely have a strong opinion on it afterwards. I can't breathe. Excuse me.
Gregory Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Anything else?
Tell me about Zachary.
Zach? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle, but who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and Mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger bore. He's better off dead. Is that all?
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nothing, really. I'm just enjoying the show. Our perfect mother obviously fucked up, didn't she? Faking her own death. You know, she's explained nothing to us. I think she's scared to own up to her own mistake.
Phil, did you find out if the vote was notarized? How the hell did that happen? No, we all signed it. I gave it to him in person. He says he got it notarized the very same day. Right, listen. You go to their office and ask for Cheryl. She's the best they've got. Tell her you want to see the records. And don't take no for an answer. And call me as soon as you've got them. Thanks, Phil. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Rebecca Carlisle, can you tell me about yesterday evening?
We don't really see much of each other, my brothers and I. I suppose it takes our mother's funeral to bring us together, and even then, it's not like we sit on each other's laps. Now, let's see. Patrick, Gregory's son, disappeared straight after dinner. You know, I think he might be in some sort of trouble. Edward wanted to go as well, but Gregory convinced him to stay for a few drinks before they went off for a pint at the local at 9:15. I swear Gregory enjoys Edward's discomfort over staying here. I had a conference call with my New York office at 9, so I spent 3 hours on my laptop in my room and went straight to bed afterwards. I don't know about Emma. She did act a bit strange. You know, I bet she was making lists for changes needing to be done once she gets her hands on Thornbridge Manor. Quite the shock she had when Mother arrived during breakfast. Is that everything, Mr. Whitmer? I do have...
Tell me about Zachary. Did he act strange last night?
You know, now you mention it, he was a lot more chatty than usual. He wanted to know about my connections in the publishing business. Apparently, a friend of his is writing a book, which strikes me as very peculiar. I didn't think he had any friends. Is there
Anything else you feel like mentioning?
I may be wrong, but I saw Mr. Fernsby, the butler, leave Zachary's room early this afternoon. And he seemed a bit startled when he saw me in the hallway. It's probably nothing. Oh, and one more thing. Please be kind to Edward. He can only take so much. Is that everything, Mr. Whitmer? I do have a lot to see to.
Emma Carlisle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Anything else you want?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Is that all?
Have you noticed anything else out of the ordinary?
Nothing special comes to mind. Except, perhaps, I did get a feeling that Zachary was depressed, not just sad. I suppose he realized that he had no one with Alexa gone. Even Alexa must feel the pangs of guilt over that one, letting him believe she was dead. Then again, guilt isn't her strong suit.
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlisle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
Hello, sir.
Up.
I need to keep an eye out, stay on top of things like that.
This is Madame Carlisle's office. Please step inside.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you... Please, go ahead.
Your brother committed suicide.
I need to see some evidence to believe that, Mr. Whitmer.
Zachary was found dead in a room locked from the inside. He died from a rare poisonous plant he cultivated himself. He believed you were dead, and a suicide note explained that he did not have the courage to go on without you.
That's what I don't buy. I cared for him deeply, but the truth is he hated my guts.
My death would not make him commit suicide, I can promise you that.
Perhaps the death of your older brother, Montgomery, then. I have found evidence showing that you and Zachary killed him nearly 50 years ago. I believe that was when Zachary turned recluse. Your brother recently uncovered proof that your past deeds were for nothing. A letter from Montgomery stating that he wanted you, Madame Carlisle, to take over from your father instead of himself, as you were better suited to the job. Everything would have turned out the way you wanted, without anyone dying. What broke Zachary once, now destroyed him.
And you saw this letter?
I did.
Oh, Zachary. How royally I fucked up. Mr. Whitmer, I'm sorry, I just need to gather my thoughts. Right. The payment for your services, have you decided on an amount?
Arthur Edwards. You have a file on him.
Arthur Edwards. How do you... I see. Well played. For many, many years I feared what I'd see when I finally met death. And now you sit before me, and I feel only peace. You see, I believe life is a fair fight, and I lost spectacularly in every way imaginable. It is time for me to leave the pit. Oh, before I get to that, your reward. The file you want is in the safe. A last wish from a dying woman. Get Edwards and make him suffer. So long. I need some privacy. Thank you.
That's Madame Carlisle taken care of. Time to get the file on Arthur.
Please, go ahead.
Your niece, Emma Carlisle, murdered your brother Zachary.
My niece? Emma is not my niece. She's my daughter-in-law.
And your niece. Emma is the illegitimate child of your late older brother Montgomery, who you and Zachary killed 46 years ago.
That's preposterous.
You asked me to find out what happened to Zachary. Would you rather not know?
No. No, go on.
I found a letter from Emma's mother, Jane, who was the fiancée of your older brother at the time of his death. She witnessed how you and Zachary pushed him off the balcony. She believed you did it to steal the Carlisle empire from her and her unborn child. And she raised Emma to reclaim what she lost. Marry your heir, Gregory, get revenge, and secure the Carlisle empire for her bloodline generations to come.
Emma is the daughter of Montgomery and that local girl, Jane.
She is.
Well, the girl got it wrong. I didn't steal anything. I did what was necessary to protect the future of the Carlisles. Montgomery wasn't cut out to take over from father. All heart and no balls.
Emma used the funeral gathering to speed up her installment as the lady of the house, seizing the opportunity to stage Zachary's suicide. She did her homework, used a poison made from one of Zachary's rare plants, found old floor plans from Thornbridge Manor to gain access to his room through a secret passage.
That scheming bitch.
More than you think. I found proof that she will try to poison you next.
Well, I'll have to take care of that. Thank you, Mr. Whitmer. You have not disappointed. I promised you I would reward you generously if you solved the case. So, what do you suggest?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Edwards, the constant. But how do you... Oh, see. I expected you might show up, but to kill me, not help me. But I've been wrong on so many things lately, so why not this one? I will give you the file on Edwards. You've earned it. I don't suppose I could convince you to deal with my daughter-in-law now you're here. I would like to see her dead. No? What a shame. I'll have to see to it some other way then. Please, go ahead.
The butler, Mr. Fernsby, killed Zachary.
Fernsby? Oh, you've got that wrong. He would never do such a thing. He is the most loyal man I have ever met.
I found pills in his office that matches the poison that killed your brother. Furthermore, I found Zachary's notebook, half burned, in Mr. Fernsby's fireplace. It showed that Zachary intended to publish a written confession to a murder the two of you committed nearly 50 years ago. The murder of your older brother, Montgomery.
That's outrageous. We did no such thing.
No need to feign innocence. I know a killer when I see one, and my discretion is assured. The papers also described how Mr. Fernsby helped you stage the murder of Montgomery as an accident. I believe he killed Zachary not to be exposed as an accomplice to murder.
Sweet Fernsby. You are wrong, Mr. Whitmer. He did not do it to protect himself. He did it to protect the Carlisle legacy. Mr. Fernsby, like myself, understands that sacrifices must be made to secure stability and prosperity. Mr. Whitmer, I'd appreciate it if your findings never leave this room. I understand Fernsby's actions, and there is no need for them to have more consequences than they already have. Fernsby was very fond of Zachary, and I'm sure his decision will haunt him to the day he dies. About your reward, have you considered an amount?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Arthur Edwards, the Constant. That must mean you're... I expected you'd show up. But you're not here to kill me. If you were, you would have already. The enemy of my enemy, I suppose. You can have it. You earned it. The file you want is in the safe. Good hunting. I need some privacy.
Sir.
Good work, 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlisle.
Looking good, looking good.
Such a bunch of old junk. You're 100 years old at least. You don't know how the... I don't believe for a second that Zachary is only just run through the plan yesterday.
Mission complete. Well done, 47.
Don't respond, just listen. Diana can't help you now. You need to find Olivia. She will know what to do. I wish there had been more time.
And then there were none. Thank you, Miss Burnwood. Now, it's my turn.
Stay down. Boss wants you alive.
Yeah?
How about now? Over here! Cover me! Walk away! Or what? You gonna take us all on?
Don't.
Tell the Constant to start running!
You think you've won? 47 is out there. And 47 never misses his mark.
Neither do you, Miss Burnwood. That's what makes you valuable.
You're delusional. You think I would betray 47?
Trust me, you owe him nothing.
What is this?
I told you we could help each other, and I meant it. I look forward to your call.
Gray is gone. Go to Berlin and stay out of sight. We're all that's left now.